I've always wondered how people think that coming for the guns forcibly is going to work. Like, do you really think that the people who own, unironically, trillions of rounds of ammo are just going to willingly give up their guns because there's a law that says they have to? Like, sure, you can definitely get a few thousand, maybe even a few million of the guns. I don't know how many guns are in America, I'm just using numbers. But realistically, I would say at least half. At least half of all of the gun owners will be completely unwilling to give up their guns. And nothing short of death will make them do it. And I'm not saying this because I'm a gun owner. I don't own any guns legally or illegally. I'm just saying I don't really think it's going to work out the way that people like to think it'll work out. There will be no peace if you try to come for the guns in America. Because unironically, people would rather fight and die than to give up their guns. I'd argue not every flag is unique, nor is every stripe, but they symbolize something, and that's why they're important, just like LGBT. I'm going to assume by not every flag, you mean not every SAR, because we're talking about the American flag. And the thing about it is, you could make that argument. You can make any argument ever, but it would be a very poor argument. Every star and every stripe on the American flag is quite literally unique. All 13 of the stripes each stand for an original colony of the United States of America, hence why there are 13. Every star stands for a state in the United States of America, hence why there are 50. Not a singular one of them is redundant because they are each unique. I suppose you could make an argument for the 13 original colonies and the 13 stars, because you know the stripes and the stars, you could make an argument that those aren't unique. But considering that the original 13 states and the current 50 states that we have are unique in the sense that America has changed and it's not the same two things. So like I said, you can make an argument. It would be a very poor one though.
I promise you I'm going to have fun with this one. But just to prove you wrong, I Googled exactly, quote, Q and LGBTQ questioning, end quote, and it in fact means questioning. Now, before I take a dump on you, say hi to Bella. Anyway, this is a prime example of why you should not ask Google biased questions. Notice how you added the word questioning. This is a purposeful, malicious, and dishonest way to look things up. You could have literally just Googled Q and LGBTQ, and you would have got the same result that I have got and that everyone else should have got. I have no idea how we are all so confused on something when Google is literally free. But let me humor you, of course, because of course I have to come to your side since you can't see the side of logic and reason, and of course facts. Using quite literally your exact search, your exact wording, it quite literally says questioning or queer, or sometimes both. So I'm not fully understanding why you're so confused. You are purposely and actively ignoring the truth, because seeing the truth as the truth would make you have to change your opinions and your worldview, which you can't do.
The issue is these types of thoughts also lead to even more bigoted ideas, like the idea of someone saying all men are bad, and then telling a trans female to male. I'm assuming the rest of that comment was that they go with that as well. I didn't see the rest of the comment. But I would agree. The thing about it is people with hateful ideas never tend to think about how far outreaching their hateful ideas go. Because if you say all men are bad, then guess what? You're also hating on trans men. And then to make the statement, oh, well, not trans men, so... But why? Why are they excluded there? Also, not necessarily men, but males. And the reason why I use air quotes is because boys are not men, but boys are male. Imagine a little child, 6 years old, on the internet, growing up and hearing all men are bad online. How do you think that's going to affect their mental state? Imagine growing up in the world as a boy and you already think that all men are bad or kill all men or all men are trash or all men are pigs. People never think about how far their hateful ideas go and who it affects.
Rainbow, trying to support the LGBT.
Jokes aside, I have a legitimate question. Why do we call it the LGBTQ? Ignoring the fact that lesbian and gay is redundant, ignoring that you have 4 letters in front of Q and God knows how many letters after Q, right? Well, the thing about Q is it means queer, obviously. And queer is just an overall umbrella term for anyone who is not heterosexual or cis. So all 4 letters, L, G, B, and T, are now redundant because of Q. And any letter that comes after Q is also redundant. Why don't we just call it the Q community? Or at the very least, the Q plus community? Why do we have alphabet soup going on here?
Do you really think? Do you?
Imagine me prefacing literally any sentence with, if you were a real woman. Do with that knowledge what you may.
Do you believe there is a gender war?
Honestly, the saddest part of that whole video is the fact that that woman spoke nothing but facts. And women who don't like it will literally just look at her and call her a pick-me. They hated Jesus because he spoke the truth. History repeats itself. This one, like the last one, is mainly speculation. I can only say so much on the topic. But I can add my own personal experience, which I don't do too often, I suppose. And in my own personal experience, my mother was a cheerleading coach. When I was much, much younger, she had middle school, high school, college girls. I was the young one. All of her girls were older than me.
So I grew up around a lot of women, a lot of, well, females, because they weren't all adults, I suppose. And I was around my mother a lot because my father also worked and I couldn't be with him. So by default, I was with her. So when I grew up, as I grew up, I had like, a lot of female friends. And I can tell you one thing personally. If you want good dating advice, do not listen to women, on God. Because they will tell you the things that they would want to hear, but they never end up dating the nice guy. It's just not how it goes. They tell you the traits that they would want in the guys that they want, but the guys that they want don't have those traits. There's a correlation there. Paint the picture yourself. So my parents were together until I was like 15. So I didn't grow up with a single mother per se. But with all the time that I spent around my mother, my female friends, and her cheerleaders, I would say that not having a masculine perspective on it will ruin your chances as a man in the dating pool. I think overall you will suffer if you don't have any masculine perspective. And this is why I was talking about incels the way that I was. Because boys are gonna want a masculine figure, right? So if they don't have one in their life, the single mom, maybe she doesn't have a great relationship with her own father, right? You don't know your grandparents. So let's just say you don't have a masculine figure. Boys still need a masculine figure. They still want and crave a masculine figure. And unfortunately, that leads to them doing things like turning online for it. And essentially, you have realistically one of two paths you'll go down. You'll go down the Andrew Tate complete misogynist path, or you'll go down the Discord mod neckbeard incel path. Neither of those paths are good. You don't want to go down either of those paths. Or even worse, the third one, the alt-right pipeline. Oh my God. So, I mean, either way, whether it's a father or a mother, I haven't seen the studies or any stats about single fathers, but either way, you're pretty much screwed. And I think that like paints a picture that like shows the bigger picture, that a lot of people would rather divorce and basically say fuck the kids and fuck their chance of success rather than just sticking it out until the kid's 18 and then divorcing. Because if you're married with kids, the marriage is no longer about you and your partner. It is about the well-being and the guarantee of that child's success. Now, obviously, in certain extreme circumstances, which I already know people are going to say, then yeah, divorce them. But that's just not the case statistically most of the time. And women initiate 80% of divorces. So do with that last bit of information what you will.
Man, I remember old Battlefront. That shit was OG, you know what I'm saying? And then we got this trash.
The world would be a better place without men.
This will be one of the very few times I ever stitch a video without watching the whole thing. But I'm just going to leave with this one comment. If you are a man and you think the world would be better without women, or you are a woman and you think the world would be better without men, if you fit into either of these two groups, I am not joking. Seek professional help, learn to deal with your traumas, and try to be less of a delusional creature so that the whole of humanity can benefit from it. And I mean this from the bottom of my cold heart. Actually, something very interesting that I've thought a lot about. Because you have to ask yourself where incels come from. And I'm going to equivalate incels to nice guys here, stay with me. So the whole nice guy / incel mentality is the fact that they're really nice to women and they feel as though they deserve affection from women, which obviously is bad and cringe. But the question here is, where did they learn that behavior from? Where did they learn that in order to get women, you have to be quote unquote nice to them? You have to be the nice guy, right? Like I'm talking your fedora wearing Discord mod motherfuckers, right? More than likely, I would argue that they got it from their single mothers. Because most children in single households grew up with their mother, not their father.
If you got a pen,
Oh, this dude speaks facts.
You men get on this app and say the most fucking dumbest shit all
How?
the fucking time. A woman
When?
goes after a successful man, y'all will call her a gold digger.
On God.
When a woman is successful and has her own, y'all talk about she need to lower her fucking standards.
Facts.
Y'all can't even make up y'all fucking minds.
Both can be true at once.
Fucking all the time giving some bullshit ass relationship advice.
Let's hear yours.
Your broke ass.
True.
Question for the men. Are you guys, like, okay?
No. 'Cause sometimes I look in her eyes and that's where I find that you.
Question for the men. Are you guys, like, okay?
No. Come, let's watch the rain as it's falling down.
18 in that Porsche Carrera. Go up out. Rats in a quarter ounce.
Oh, that shit is easy. It's not even close. And I'll tell you why. The daughter is just delusional in this one. She has no hope of coming back to reality, and she'll probably be like that until she's old and bitter. But the son, now don't get me wrong, the son is in the wrong too. But most dudes who do that are just immature. He has a chance to mature. Hopefully he'll get to do it. So I gotta go with the son. It's not even close for me.
At my age of 24, I realized once a nigga cheats on me, the relationship is over.
And coming up next on the news, ladies and gentlemen, water wet. What a thought.
Why do so many women end up with subpar men?
Because they're subpar women. It's really that simple. A lot of women value themselves much higher than what they actually are in reality. Lower your standards. Let's get this clear right now. Daddy issues does not mean you could twerk. Don't hype them up any more than they need to. Lola Bunny solos. Keep that in mind. Alright, hear me out. Trust me, Mr. Django. I don't need to hear a goddamn thing. Because I, in fact, will be the one giving this lesson. I have a whole dissertation, a PhD in anthropomorphized characters. I will be the only one speaking. You will listen to me. I already know Bess is a throat demon. Look at those blue eyes. I know she throw neck. Throw the hell out that neck. Anything you can say, I already done thought of. Look at those big old eyes. Look at them big old ears, them big old rings. She could get it. I understand, Django. Let it be known I've been saying Saitama can beat Goku for years. And I'll die on that hill, I swear to God. A few more chapters and we'll have the feats you morons have been asking for. Alright, so both are naked and completely covered in oil. Who's winning the twerk off? You really think Raven know how to twerk? Really? Lola Bunny is dominating. Don't at me.
Oh yeah? Your body, your choice? So tell me, where the fuck is my foreskin?
Put me in the gulag, smack my ass, call me Sally. Hang me by my balls till they fall off. I'd take anything other than he's just a friend type girlfriend. Anything.
Look, I just flipped the switch.
Say whatever you want. It's okay. I'm taking durability. Here's why. I'm jumping out of an airplane with no parachute so quickly. I'm Evil Knievel in it and driving straight off the Grand Canyon.
What makes a terrible husband?
He exists, and he is a man.
What did your dad do to you exactly?
Man 2020.
The irony of these very people's beliefs are that they don't even realize the hypocrisy of their own statements. These same people would agree with you that racism is bad, and hating an entire group of people based off of their race or their skin color is bad and racist, and they would not do it. But yet hating the largest group of people, that being 50% of men, is completely okay to them. Like in my other post, these people have trauma. They need to solve their trauma because they are delusional. And we as a society and we as a species only suffer for it. If you are a man and you hate women, or you are a woman and you hate men, seek professional help.